Hello, this is Steven Hour. We are back with Batman 66 episode review. Today we'll be continuing in this two-parter with the Yegg foes in Gotham. So without further ado, let's pick up where we last left off. Basically, a recap on the previous episode is that Egghead is back in town and is planning to manipulate the Gotham City Charter in order to take over and have a major control and influence in Gotham City. To do this, he has kidnapped 3 of Gotham City's millionaires, which just so happened to be one of them be Bruce Wayne, and of course Dick Grayson is also there accompanying him. When he was kidnapped, Egghead has put Bruce Wayne in a sort of in some kind of brain-sucking device, which Egghead will use to verify if Bruce Wayne is really Batman. Cue the opening credits. We cut back to Bruce still stuck in the chair, with Egghead slowly starting to take some information out of his brain. And as a result, nobody notices Dick messing around with the electricity, causing the machine to go boom. Only a tiny bit of information was trickled into Egghead's brain, but it was all useless trivia. Egghead finds that it's inconceivable that someone with that much useless info in his head could be Batman. Now, with that, Egghead and his goons are about to make their escape, but he leaves behind a radar egg so that the millionaires will not be able to follow him, as the slightest vibration will cause the pretty much room to explode. However, Bruce Wayne, the other millionaires, and Dick do manage to get not just out of the room alive, but he also manages to disarm the bomb. However, it is all too late and in vain. They were 3 minutes late, and now 3 minutes late, missing the ceremony, and Chief Screaming Chicken now owns Gotham City from the suburbs and basically everything. We then cut back to Police Commissioner Gordon's office, where with Mayor Lindsay there. And then, just on cue, Egghead turns up, who has made a deal with Chief Screaming Chicken to be an embassy, and as a result has a legal contract in controlling Gotham City. He has fired Gordon and Mayor Lindsay from their positions, and has basically expelled Batman and Robin from the Gotham City limits. If they even step foot in Gotham, they will be executed. With Egghead basically running the Gotham City Police Department, the crime is at an all-time high, with criminals basically committing all sorts of robberies. We see this montage, and as a result, what they do is they give out tickets for jaywalking, littering, and not fastening seatbelts. Essentially, Gotham City has been run by the criminals. Realizing that how bad it's gotten, Bruce and Dick basically break back into the museum to steal the charter, in hoping for a counter clause due to Bruce Wayne being a businessman and knowing every legal trick of the trade. Egghead, however, knows this and is hoping that Batman and Robin would show up. However, Bruce and Dick manages, to slip past them and go on their merry way. Back in the Batcave, they're examining the charter, where they find out that there is a fine print. That is, if they miss the raccoon payment, ownership of the city does revert to the Mohican Indians. However, Mohicans cannot then turn around and lease the city to anyone else with a criminal record. They deduce that Egghead will go after the city's treasury now that he's in charge, with basically, as that is the largest big thing of cash, and knowing that all the other things have been rounded up by all the major gangs. They basically make their way there. However, Batman does inform Gordon and Mayor Lindsay, who are in his office, informing that Egghead no longer controls the city, and then Gordon relays this to all the men, and essentially, it's slightly restored. Batman and Robin then go to the treasury, where they found out that Egghead has taken all the money, but when Chief Screaming Chicken was going to stop them from robbing, after all, he does have a bit of a conscience. He's tied up. And essentially, Egghead has pretty much taken basically every single exempted cash. With that, the Cake Crusaders need to find out where Egghead has gone. And thanks to Gordon, all the roads, the harbour, and basically airports have all been put on block, preventing anyone from leaving the city. However, with that, he knows that Egghead has one diet, certain color eggs, knowing that he will be packing a bunch of eggs, a good quality might I add, before he goes into hiding. Realizing that there's only one egg farm big enough to satisfy his type of diet. Old McDonald's Chicken Ranch. I'm not making this up. They then make their way there to the chicken ranch, where Egghead and his men are stealing Old McDonald's eggs. And he and his men do plan to escape the city by using Gotham City's sewer system. However, Batman and Robin do have a fight, do get there in time, and a fist fight ensues. Now, what I like about it is that basically they're just throwing eggs everywhere. It's absolutely hilarious. And the fighting song is basically Old MacDonald. Again, with Egghead, they're going full all out with these egg thieves. But basically, Batman and Robin do take down Egghead and all his goons. And he does promise that McDonald, yeah, that's the farmer's name, that he will be reimbursed for the egg damages. And with that, Egghead's reign is all over. He's captured, and with the police in charge, Gotham City returns to normal, as the police, believe it or not, manages to round up all the local criminal gangs. And that's where we end our episode. Tune in next time where Batman will be going up against Shandell. Basically, Batman and Robin don't really have that much of a huge impact in the story. Really. Here we get to see mainly Sid. Now, this is not the first time we've met him. Believe it or not, he has appeared in very small and very brief roles that you might have missed in Joker's final two-parter of season 1, and even at the Gotham City Bridge during the Bookworm adventures. But here he gets a more of a prominent role, and it's clear that Batman has a lot of great respect for him, and even admiration. Alfred and Harriet, Chief O'Hara and Gordon get a little bit less screen time, but I do like I find interesting that Chief O'Hara is taking orders from Egghead. I find that really interesting, and why he would even allow that to happen. Maybe as a bit of punishment. I like how we actually get to see Bruce and Dick a bit more at the end of this episode, more in this episode, and I find it absolutely great. And Batman and Robin, of course, are great as well. I like the egg fight. Now, the interesting thing behind the scenes, most of it was done, like the eggs getting thrown. Bert hated it, but most of the camera crew loved it because even though Bert was great to work with, there were moments during the show's run where he was a little bit of a diva and a bit of a beep, as Adam West would say. But it's understandable because, again, this was his first acting work, and overall this was, and again, so when you find stories about that, it was pretty fun. But of course, when you talk about Egghead, what can I say about Vincent Price's Egghead that I haven't already said? It's a character that shouldn't works. Vincent Price not just brings this role to life, he brings it with a lot of eccentricities. I like the egg theme with his capers, and even overall, how he took over Gotham was great. And even when he knew that if things were gonna go backfire, because he maybe would have figured that out, that Batman would do that, where maybe things didn't go according to plan, he knew that he had to quickly get out of Gotham, and he was smart enough to know that the only way out was to take Gotham City's sewer system. There's something about that yellow and creamy white suit that just fits that fits the character. The actual head, and what I heard, Vincent Price was such great to work with on set, and he was very popular character at the time, that his character was brought back for season 3. As sadly, this will be the only episodes that Egghead would appear in for season 2. He will come back. And I heard that he got so in character as Egghead during the egg fight that he almost thought that he was Egghead for a moment. He almost got in character. Again, this is just rumors you hear from behind the scenes type stuff. For me, this is truly one of the show's greatest villains, was truly born out of this two-parter. Chief Screaming Chicken, I still have problems with him. I still feel he's heavily insensitive to Native Americans. Even though it was meant for laughs, I can get that, but also I can't at the same time. I like his redeeming thing, but it also kind of feels it kind of comes out of nowhere. But I guess why? Because I don't want to paint Native Americans in a bad light. I get that. But other than that, I gotta admit, I kind of have a problem a bit. Really, I do. Overall, I can get on board with it, but I will still have my gripes, I'll say that. This episode also gave us yet another window cameo by the name of Juizo Jimenez. Sorry if that was pronounced wrong, and I'm not meant, and hopefully I didn't do it to the point where it's completely insensitive. Now, this character was part of an extremely popular comedy character that was portrayed by comedian Bill Danner. Hopefully that name is also being pronounced right. Now, essentially, this was like a character he's playing. I admit, I get a chuckle out of it, and I understand that he was so popular. And basically, and him popping out was pretty funny. And I don't find it offensive, even though people can say that it can be. I don't see it that way, but I can understand why people would. Personally, I don't find it to be that totally insensitive. And it's just a fun cameo. Again, for some of these cameos, I have to do a bit of research because some of these I don't know. But I kind of think but I enjoy it because it gives me more of an insight to what was being created during the show's run and everything that was going on behind the scenes. All fantastic. The Yegg Foes in Gotham. A very interesting title for an Egghead episode. First off, these episodes should be remembered for two reasons. One being the best Season 2, and the second for being Egghead's introduction to Batman 66. But how do I personally feel about them? I feel they are definitely great episodes. Maybe not my personal top 10. And that's probably because of the Native American thing that gives me a bit of a distaste in my mouth. I can enjoy the window cameo in this episode, and Vincent Price's, not just his character, how he gets eccentricities, but some line deliveries too are pretty damn great, and he manages to pull them off, and absolutely fun to behold to see. These two pair of episodes I highly recommend if you truly want to see Egghead. Again, Egghead is a goofy character, but Vincent Price can play goofy, silly, but also serious. He manages to make that character work. And there we have it, the Yegg Foes in Gotham. Pretty great episode, pretty alright episodes. And arguably some of Season 2's best. Join us next time when we review Batman going up against Shandell and his twin brother? Join us next time to find out why. Until then, this has been the Steven Hour. Join us next time for the same Steven time and the same Steven channel. Ladies and gentlemen, so long for now.